This is college football at its absolute best.
Yeah, they had us the first half, I'm not going to lie.
Oh, could be Wayne.
I think I got my swagger back. Oh.
I love it, baby. Them orange britches. Something about them orange britches.
Tennessee wins! Tennessee Jawan Jennings.
Ball hit high in the air into right field. Going back is Sayre. And Tennessee can say hello, win column. A grand slam in the bottom of the ninth. You can't draw it up any better.
We just won a basketball game, and we're very happy right now.
McGrath for the win. He got it. If you don't like college football and you watch this one, I'm not sure what your problem is.
Reddit did to do, and welcome into More Important Issues. It is Thursday, November 14th. We are nearing a showdown in Athens, potentially a college football playoff elimination game. Certainly is for one team. We'll find out later on if it is for another team, and we'll talk some college football playoff. It's somehow got weirder. I feel like it should have been more ironed out, Joey, but it's weirder.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it was kind of, we knew there would be some chaos and that it'd get a little more, convoluted down the road. So I
don't think it needed chaos this week, though. I feel like the status quo was pretty easy, other than one team that lost.
Right. But that's thinking logically. So,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we can't think logically around here. That's too
foolish
easy.
Of us.
Yeah. Joey Boots with me. Landon is out of town this weekend. Unlike Landon, I show up no matter what. I kid, but I am. I'm going to apologize in advance for the sniffles and coughs on the show. I'm going to try to back up from the mic. Whatever Alabama gave me weeks ago is still lingering. Joey's been sick. What would you? Are you still like questionable? Like you're kind of like day to day, or are you probable? I mean,
no, I'm good. I'm playing.
Oh, you're 100%. Okay.
Yeah, the past 3 weeks have been. You're right. I think it's like that Bama game for some reason seemed to be when everyone just got sick, and it's been a constant grind just to not feel less than 50% throughout the days. But I think our bodies are tired of being beaten down by the football team.
Yeah. I'm gonna make it.
Stress is getting to us.
100%. We're gonna talk about this Georgia game. I'm excited whether Tennessee's starting quarterback is there or not. I think Tennessee has a good opportunity. I'll just real quick, my quick tidbit on Georgia before we get into the show. They're not the Georgia team we've been used to the past few years. They're not perfect. Caveat to that is they don't have to be perfect to win. They're still a really good football team. I think I was looking at the Texas game. I'm actually getting way deeper into it than I want to right now. I was looking at the Texas game. Box score wise, man, they don't pop off the paper. It kind of shocked me. That's the first time I've looked at that Texas box score. And not a great second half, but overall, beat Texas pretty soundly. And they were nowhere close to perfect. And so that kind of shocked me, how just not well they played that game. And that, I guess that solidifies this team isn't perfect, but they're really good. So I think Tennessee certainly has a task ahead of them. 7 p.m. night game on the road in the SEC. You knew that was the case. I mean, that was the case at Arkansas, and they're not they're not a great football team. So yeah, Athens will of course, be the challenge we expected. We will talk about college football playoff week 12 in college football. It marches on. College football waits for no man, not even the sick and the wounded, but we'll get there. Fall basketball. We'll talk a little bit about that. I wanted to, I know, we talked about a win over Montana. I didn't feel like we needed to tout that win over Montana, but I also feel like we need to, this needs to cover the Kim Caldwell era as well. There's a lot of exciting things going on just at Pratt Pavilion and Thompson Boyne Arena right now. We need to talk. It all needs to be discussed. So we'll get into some fall basketball. If you guys got questions, go ahead, drop them in the chat. Heads up, Joey, right before the show, I hope I timed it out well. I took an Advil PM So it could get
Oh,
more important issues after dark real quick around here. That's not my goal.
hey, that's
But
okay. Thursday.
I couldn't wait till 10
Rowdy.
p.m. to take it, or I'd never wake up. So
Right. No,
I'm hoping I timed it well.
I think you should
Stick
be
with
okay.
us. Yeah, I should be fine. Stick with us, guys, on the other side of this. Listen to a little Levi Ogle.
Home run, slam dunks, give him six. Boys at them double I, they got your big orange face. All year long is the place to be to hear some balls for life talking Tennessee. You can hate us if you want, but we sure ain't worried about you. We got more important issues.
Let's
That
talk
stuff
Athens. It's so good. It's so good. Let's talk Athens. The Vols, they go to Georgia. They don't only go to Georgia. They go to Georgia 8.5-point dogs, which I don't know how Vegas odds exactly work. Seems a little on ESPN bet just moved to 9.5. So people are liking Tennessee apparently. I think it was at 10.5 at one point. Was it?
I think
Did
it
you
opened
see
at
that?
10.5.
Oh, it opened at 10.5. Okay.
Or at least quickly moved to 10.5 because,
Right. I'd say there's money on Tennessee. I that doesn't shock me that a lot of the public money's on Tennessee.
No, I mean, I don't know. I guess some of the spread has to be due in part to the not certainty of Nico's, situation. Obviously, they kind of have to cover their ass there because, I mean, you're playing both sides of the ball. Obviously, if you set it at 5.5 and automatically Gaston starting, I'm not saying I wouldn't have faith in Gas Pipe, but I'm just saying that changes the way that the line works. I mean, so I think that they're just being on the safe side. You're starting to see it move slowly towards, 7.5, 6.5 already. So I wouldn't be surprised if you get word on Nico Saturday morning, see it finish at like 6.5. But yeah, no, I think 10.5 points is outrageous. I think that's too many points. I think 6.5 would be a fair opening line.
Sure. And I like that you went ahead and were able to work in the nickname Gas Pipe. I saw someone tweet that we need a Gaston nickname, and then that video of Josh Heupel calling him Gas Pipe got dropped. And I was like, yeah, that's it. It's Gas Pipe.
My buddies have been calling him Gas Pipe for like at least a year and a half. He's
always really?
Gas Pipe. So like we were always like, I mean, I've been screaming put Gas Pipe in anytime something goes wrong from student section. I just thought that was already like a name. So when Heupel said it, I was like, yeah. And everyone in the comments was like, this nickname rocks. And I was like, maybe we're ahead of the curve. Maybe we
I hadn't heard it. Yeah. Okay. Joey, that's what you get when you listen to More Important Issues. You get boots on the ground. God knows ball. He's been calling him Gas Pipe for ages. I mean, that's why you come here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great nickname. And I think I mentioned this. I think I mentioned this on the Chase Thomas podcast this week. And I might have even said it here Sunday. I'd rather have Nico starting. I'd rather have Nico playing. I don't feel definitely not significantly worse. I don't necessarily feel bad about Tennessee's chances in this football game with Gaston Moore. I think Gaston Moore. I don't think it's because Gaston's exceptional. I don't think he'd go out there and play better than Nico, but I think he also is. He doesn't have a ton of experience, but he is in games. But he's been in the program for a while. He knows he can't turn the football over. The way Tennessee wins this football game will not be quarterback play, even if it's Nico. It is how your offensive line is able to allow Dylan Sampson and Peyton Lewis or Cam Selden, because we did find out that Deshaun Bishop's out per the Wednesday injury report, which I thought we were hoping he'd get back by this week. For him to not even be questionable is I don't know what the injury is. But I think it's all about that. And then defense, I have faith in what they can do overall in a game, but we also need them to create turnovers. We need them to force 3 and outs to allow Tennessee good field position. I don't think Tennessee's kind of gotten by with not exceptional quarterback play all year in one football games against some good football teams. Now you ask though, like there have been flashes, like now Alabama game, Nico flashed. He made some big plays. And that allowed you to win that football game. So can Gaston find a play or two where he flashes if he's the guy? I think that matters, but the overall part of the game, I think it's in different areas of the game is how this is won. I think also going with a backup, you kind of allow Georgia to attack a specific area, which makes it more difficult on Gaston Moore and the rest of the team. But I don't feel terrible about the chances. Yeah, if Nico rolls, I'm feeling good, but I'm also not. If we get that call that Nico's going on Friday night or even on Saturday, my feelings aren't going to drastically change about the game, I guess is the best way to say that.
It's also like if we win or lose this game, I like if we're to lose and Nico starts, I'm not going to sit there and go, oh, we didn't win because Nico didn't play exceptional ball. Like you said, it's kind of been the case all year. It's been like spotty quarterback play. You've really depended heavily on your defense. And then obviously, Dylan Sampson just finding any sliver he can in a gap in that offensive line. And that's kind of what you're just absolutely going to rely on this week. Probably some really strong tight end play as well. But I guess the biggest thing, I agree with you. This isn't like day and night. Like this isn't like, oh man, we had a sliver to win that game and now we've got no chance. It's also not, we should win this game and then we're not going to. I guess the biggest thing is just Nico has shown that, like you said, some flashes in that moment where like last week, for example, that 4th and 4 call or 4th and 5 or whatever. I mean, to step up and still throw it to Squirrel White when he's already overthrown a couple passes in that game. He had Kitzelman on a pretty wide open dig right. Could have made the safe pass and, kind of showed a flash of just not really letting the moment get to him and show that he's still pretty calm under pressure, especially for such a young guy. So I think that's probably where the biggest difference would be, where like I'd worry a little bit because Georgia's going to send a lot of pressure no matter which player's back there. And, like you said, Gaston's a veteran player, so I would hope he can handle it pretty well too. But I think that's where you're going to have the biggest difference. I mean, Nico's obviously still more accurate, but he's had a lot of passes this year that if Gaston would have thrown that pass, there would have been, way more questions about, oh man, he's not really the guy. So I wouldn't think it to be the end of the world, which is good.
Sure. Yeah. And it's probably kind of a good thing. And I still don't know based on how how the situation occurred. Obviously, I don't even know if Josh Heupel would tell his team like he's out for the rest of the game, but that wasn't mentioned in that video, and I don't know if that would have been dropped information. But Cooper Mays made it seem like he didn't realize that he was going to be out the rest of the half. I don't know if they decided to, hey, it's a little something shaky here, we're not going to play. I don't know, but I think that, listen, he gets the chance to rest. Sounds like he's at least practiced some this week with the team, but that's hopefully more rest without chance of injury. Maybe this is not the best thing in the world, but not the worst thing in the world kind of situation for him. Didn't have to play that second half. They got on without him and try to get him 100% for this week. It's kind of nice that this team's good enough that 2022, this team this fan base believed in Joe Milton, but 2022, if Hendon Hooker goes down going into Georgia, everyone's like, it's over. That was the end of the run. This is not a knock on Nico. This team's just good enough that's not the mindset. And you're also playing a Georgia team that's not as good as that 2022 Georgia team, and that changes it. Again, not that they're not a good football team.
I think that's why
they did struggle last week.
Kind of leaning towards Georgia so heavily is that like the last time the Vols went into Athens, it was this hype of, man, Tennessee's higher ranked than Georgia, and it's finally their time. They just beat Bama. It's their time to beat Georgia. And like, I think that they just kind of assume that that's the same situation we're in. But I mean, you're right. It's this team looks significant. This Georgia team looks significantly different than last year's, and definitely significantly different than 2022 Georgia. I mean, they're totally different teams, and I think people are still just kind of giving Georgia's the championship team the past couple of years. I mean, they look so good. All this stuff, and I don't think they're weighing, both I think there's just some bias that come into come into that situation.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what goes into this, but I mean, looking at this Georgia team too, that struggled with a really, really solid defensive line, or I'm underplaying them a little bit. A really good defensive line. In Ole Miss, I said, and when we talked about that I mean, I think they're definitely the number 2 defensive line. I could hear arguments for, especially because of their starting group, like they might be the best, but Tennessee's obviously right there with them. You have James Pierce, obviously the kind of standout on that one, but they were able to sack them 5 times, 9 tackles for a loss. I don't know if those numbers get there for Tennessee this week, but I think that is a glaring hole. Like Georgia sees that stat line. That is something that has to be fixed this week. That Tennessee will certainly be able to capitalize on as Georgia's offensive line play hasn't been great. Carson Beck hasn't been great. Their run game against Ole Miss wasn't great. And then they've also not had a runner just take over. And their number 1 back is on the injury list right now. He's questionable, but he's on the injury list, which isn't going to bode well for the outlook of the game. So, I mean, that's another thing to look out for, too, as far as injury list goes. But I mean, I think this Tennessee defensive line has another really, really good day that like they've had in the past. I don't know if it's 5 sacks. That's a lot against any team in the SEC. But I do think James Pierce is going to be able to create chaos. You also have, I mean, Joshua Josephs, Jason Jenkins got a strip sack last week. Tyree West, Omar Norman-Lott just continues to kind of keep elevating his play somehow. He's played really well. He has a tendency for that. How do you feel about him when he commits his Jeremy Banks moment?
Different.
Are you okay? Different? Okay.
Yep.
That's fine. That's fair. He's not wearing number 33. Is that why?
Yeah, there's just not a lot of background stuff. I mean, you can do whatever.
Okay.
That was never my problem with Jeremy Banks. So.
Okay. That was my problem with Jeremy Banks. So I didn't realize we had different problems with Jeremy Banks.
I have more problems with Jeremy Banks than you do, but I'm sure we align on some point.
But yeah, I think Omar Norman-Lott's gonna be able to get in there and wreak havoc. Amari Thomas, I'm sure, will get his due. But yeah, I think that is the biggest storyline in my opinion in this game. Take out the Nico stuff. It is, will this defensive line rise to the moment? I think they've actually shown 2 different videos. But Rodney Garner was in, I think it was before the Alabama game or the pregame, like, close your eyes. Imagine you making the big play. Imagine you making the tackle for a loss. Like picture you going out there and succeeding. If they are told to dream about this game, it should be constant pressure, constant tackles for a loss, constant sack. Like they're going to have those opportunities. The way this team is trending, their defensive line is trending. Like somehow they seem to just rise to the occasion every single day. I think it'll be a good day for that defensive line. I hope, that's a big part of it, the trenches. I hope that translates into a big day for the entire team.
Yeah, I mean, I think our defense is better, well-rounded than Ole Miss. Again, you can talk about their actual starting and the names and stuff, but I think well-roundedness and sure, we may not. What was it? You said 5 sacks. I mean, we might not hit 5 sacks, but what Tennessee does a lot. I mean, if you look at the stats this season, it's not necessarily, oh man, as many tackles for loss. It's like what you said. It's the chaos that ensues. I mean, they're spreading that defensive front so wide and causing the O-line to just kind of play a whole different position almost. Like your first 2 steps is that right tackle has to be immediate. And we've seen that a lot this season where our edge guys are able to cause havoc in the backfield. And, quarterback's still getting the ball off, or he's not scrambling and having to throw it away or getting tackles for loss or sacks, but you're putting a lot of pressure and causing him to make stupid throws. And I mean, we've seen Carson Beck, granted, doesn't have the same offensive weapons he's had the past, Georgia doesn't have him as much at all, but
right.
He's looked unsure at times and is definitely prone to make some mistakes if you're able to get back there. So 100%, that's the biggest factor of the game, is that defensive line causing pressure.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned. I mean, Carson Beck's thrown 12 interceptions this year. He is not playing great football. Part of it is, I mean, he does not have the outlets he's previously had, like you said. And so I think he is going to have trouble this game with the way Tennessee creates it. You talk about this defense being well-rounded. They are. I thought the linebackers played better in pass coverage last week, but I also think this team is better, and so that's going to be something that I'll look for this week. Are they still looking fine in pass coverage? I thought they could have done some things better. The secondary, they're going to be asked to make plays when the opportunity comes up. Carson Beck is going to give Tennessee the opportunity to take the football away. Can they do it? How many times can they do it? Can they give Tennessee good field position? The opportunity will come. Will they take it? Also, I didn't realize this. Tennessee had 4 sacks last week, 9 tackles for a loss. I want to go to the Alabama game. 3 sacks, 9 tackles for a loss. Again, this defensive line is very good. This linebacker group is very good. I think they will rise to the occasion that is presented this week. I'd also like a friendly whistle, Joey, and I know what you're saying. We're going on the road in the SEC. That doesn't happen. I haven't quite asked for it. I want it every week. I haven't quite asked for it. I'm asking for it this week. Can we please get a friendly whistle? I want James Pierce to get the benefit of the doubt. He is a top 10 draft pick. He has more than earned the benefit of the doubt. When he doesn't get home, a ref should be looking around thinking he had to get held to not get home. I think James Pierce should get at least one free hold call. Now,
he should get.
Did he get held on that play?
He looks at him again.
Sure,
I got held. Just flat.
Sure, one a game
for one call. Yeah,
one a game. He should get it. He's that good, and I think it'll be proven once again. I'm really interested to see how they move Carson Beck around. Is it just getting the ball out quick? Is that all they're looking to do? Or are they going to try to run him away from James Pierce at times? I don't think that's really an answer with this defensive group. I think if you have Arion Carter and Jeremiah Thielander on the field, like those are guys that will make plays out of the pocket. That doesn't counteract who's on the other who's on the other side of James Pierce. I don't necessarily want to run towards them, whoever it may be.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think some key pieces. Arion Carter's been silently doing an amazing job, and we've been praising him since maybe week 4 or 5.
Yeah, not silent on this show. No.
Yeah, no. God, no. We're not silent about nephew, but I mean, there's so many key players that you don't think about. I mean, we've known Boo Carter, has insane talent, and obviously we were hoping to see some more utilization out of him, and then. He has an insane week last week all over the field, which he's been playing like that. And then finally people start realizing, they go, dude, they got another guy. Like, it's this constant refreshing of like, oh man, like who's like, this could be the week where it's like, oh man, they're finally saying, who's this Arion Carter guy? Not that they don't know who he is, obviously. I'm just saying like, it's each week, this new bonus effect of the defense comes out. And it's like, man, they just have killer after killer after killer. I mean, I expect to see a big week from the defense as a whole, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone new comes out this week and, announcers are like, oh man, this guy's having a night. And we're like, we've been telling you. It's just this defense is so deep and such an arsenal that I think that's what keeps you in the game, no matter who your quarterback is, no matter how loud Athens gets. I mean, it's going to be hard to pick up momentum if your defense never lets them get those flashes. If you just start that first quarter strong on defense, I think that's how you kind of stop that first. Because if they jump out quick on offense, which is, again, they look kind of shaky on offense, but if they're able to do that, it's going to be a lot harder for Tennessee's offense to work back towards, especially in the first half.
Yeah, I think that's a big key. Even just being on the road, I think anytime a team can get momentum. So if you look at, just go back to that Alabama-Georgia game, yeah, Alabama seemed to kind of put them away in the first half. Georgia gains that ground. That's something you can't let happen. If you have even if Tennessee has a good first quarter, once Georgia starts gaining ground, you've got to fight off momentum at every opportunity. You don't want a home team to get momentum. A team like Georgia, who does, it's not the same weapons like we mentioned, but there's plenty of talent on that team to go around. Don't let them gain momentum. It can really, really, really hurt you. I think I'm glad you mentioned Boo Carter. We hadn't gotten to special teams yet. Boo Carter returning punts is always going to be a factor, putting you in field position. He is going to take one back soon. I don't know if it's this week. I don't know if it's against UTEP. I don't know if it's against Vandy. He was a step away from taking one back against Mississippi State. it's going to happen. He finds holes, he hits holes, and if he gets into space, he's gone. There's no one on the field that will catch him.
Yeah, he's got his D. Williams moment coming soon. I mean, he's got flashes where he's just so fast. He's like this. I mean, what's he listed
He's
at?
a fart and a skillet.
5'11",
I don't know.
5'10".
Probably, yeah.
He's small. I mean, and he's just fast, dude. It's like you said. We wish we've been seeing him back there returning for.
I do, but I get.
But I get. I understand.
Landon
why,
brings
right.
up a good point, Jamal McCoy. But I think he was also. I think there's guys on football teams who are. Not that they're told to fair catch everything, but their job is to catch the football first. Like, don't let it land behind you.
Right.
And I think that was more the Jamal McCoy role. I don't know if Boo Carter is just, all right, we have got to create moments on special teams. Here we go. Don't care about injury. I don't know exactly what the reasoning was to have Boo Carter start doing those, but I'm glad he stayed injury free so far. And I think it's time to you got to create momentum somewhere. You got to start trying to. I mean, that first punt, he puts Tennessee at close to the midfield line. Also, I don't think Landon believed me, and I got the punt wrong. I don't know if you saw the one we tweeted out the other day. If he goes to the sideline, he's gone. Instead of cutting back. Everyone go watch it. Don't turn off this show. Yeah. Watch it later.
Yeah. I'll tweet it out so you can watch it.
There you go. He takes it. If he takes it outside, he beats that up back, who's wearing number 11, so it's tricky, but he's a big guy. He beats him to the sideline, turns and burns. He's gone. It's not even close. So yeah, that's a massive boost to the punt return rankings. And I gotta think he's gonna get his opportunity on kickoff. And kickoff's one of those things you don't get enough opportunities anyways. Most of them are going through the end zone,
right?
So it's kind of like why put him out there type deal, but also create moments to grab momentum to get your offense in better field. I just think he's got to be given an opportunity. The dude's chili's hot, to reference his special teams coach. He is very much a fart in a skillet. The chili's hot, and whatever weird saying Mike Eckler can come up with next, that is Boo Carter.
I mean, yeah, and sometimes it's nice. Sometimes you want a Jamal McCoy punt return, right? Sometimes you're like, all right, bad punt. Just catch it, save field position. We'll go from there. But when Boo Carter's returning, especially in an opposing territory, Nico being able to start from the 50 makes, even if it was start from the 30 versus the 50, that 20 yards feels like 60. Like the him being able to just see their side of the field only and not being able to stress about the rest that he has to cover keeps it so short goal.
Especially because you lean so much on the run game. So it's like gaining that on the ground feels so much easier. Yeah, it's 10 yards at a time, just like it would be from the 30, like you said, but it's the momentum of it. It's the mindset of it. It's a massive boost to gain those 20 yards, 15 yards on a punt return. You're stealing yards away as an offense.
And nothing kills a crowd like 15 to 20 yards and a couple missed tackles on a punt return. Like everyone's just expecting a big hit, and then they miss a tackle, and then you miss two more, and you get 15, 20 yards on a play. It's like, damn, dude, can we get somebody back there to stop him? So if you do that a couple times, it's all about sucking the energy out of that place and really trying to, even it out to a level playing field. Because I know Arkansas wasn't loud and ruckus, but obviously you couldn't get the job done there, and that was probably for other reasons. But
I do like the buzz in Neyland when Boo Carter returns punts. You can tell everybody's talking about it. Everybody's getting excited.
Yeah, right.
You can feel it.
This.
Yeah.
You
can feel
hopefully we'll bring that to Athens.
Yeah. Looking at the offense side of the ball, I have bad news for some people. It's only that Dylan Sampson is probably going to touch the ball 30 times in this game. And I know everyone's like, hey, there's already no tread on the tires. I mean, we're running these things thin. But with Deshaun Bishop being out, it's not that I don't believe in Peyton Lewis. It's just he's not quite as polished as Deshaun is. And Deshaun's he's not as polished as Dylan Sampson is. Right. I think you're just going to lean really, really heavy on Dylan Sampson. He had 26 touches against Kentucky, 27 touches against Kentucky, and then 29 or 30 last week. Did he eclipse the 30 mark? Hit 30.
I would assume he got close because Peyton Lewis got a good amount of reps.
Yeah. 30. Now that was with Peyton Lewis having 14, Cam Seldon having 6.
Right.
But I think they're going to lean on Dylan Sampson heavy this game. Peyton Lewis will get his drives, his plays. Cam Seldon will get some run. I think they've got to try to lighten the load a little bit on Sampson as they get late into the season. But I don't think it starts necessarily Saturday. I think you let a guy go you're going to try to get him to that 150 mark again. That sets you up for success. And I think he will have success on the ground. I don't know if it'll quite be 125. I think this is a game, though, where he has to go out and earn every bit of 100 yards. And so far, no one's stopped him. So I think he will do that again this week. And certainly a tough task. Kentucky, that's a good defensive front, managed fine. And I think this will be a similar. I'd like to see him. I'm ready to see him break one. I thought he'd score more from like 30 yards. Like, I'm not saying break a huge one. I'm not saying Jalen Wright, 75 yards to the house. I just thought he'd have more. I said he'd be the leading touchdown scorer this year, Joey, but I said he'd have more touchdowns from 30 yards out. Yeah. I don't know what his count is right now off the top of my head, but it's not many. He's been very much like a goal line merchant this year, and he's earned it. It's not dogging him. Yeah. I just didn't know that would be how it went.
That's fair enough. I think if Dylan Sampson sets up for 30 touches around there, 125 yards and no fumbles, I think he is going to have a really good game. And I think if we were to win and look back at the box score, I figure we're somewhere around that. How many touchdowns? I don't know. Right. If he goes out there and gets 125 yards, 30 touches and 2 touchdowns, I think we're in a great spot because this is like a 21-17 game. Like this could be a 17-14 game. Like it could be sloppy. I would assume it's probably going to get sloppy, especially depending on who's playing quarterback. If Carson Beck's getting sloppy, Gaston starts, I mean, we can just maybe pencil in an interception, to make us feel better if he does.
Georgia's riding with Carson Beck. I mean, he's not looked good all year. He throws an interception at Ole Miss. Like that, you're talking about maybe a backup with Gaston. Like they're rolling with Carson Beck. It looks like. It's crazy.
No, I mean, I don't know who their backup is, but in the press conference,
Gunner Kirby was like Stockton, isn't it?
I guess Kirby was like, no. I mean, he shut the question down immediately. He said, Carson Beck's our guy. That's who we're rolling with. So, and I mean, you'd expect that.
Shut the question down about his guy being happy about seeing his family, but
yeah, it was a little aggressive. Calling him an idiot but that's also college football coach. That's how.
So I don't disagree with the sentiment of what he was saying, but that's not something you say in a press conference because you're going to get the clips pulled. You say it like to your assistant coaches and the kid, and you leave it at that. Yeah, him losing his mind on cameras was all time. You're an idiot moment. Yeah, that his SID was just like, oh, please shut up. Yeah. Like this is not a big deal. Please shut up. Yeah, that was all time. Yeah, they're rolling with Carson Beck, which is crazy. You mentioned Dylan Sampson fumbling. He's fumbled in his last 3 games. Those have been the only 3 of his career. 2 of those, I would say, they're just unlucky. There are times in football games in any sports, like you just get unlucky. He's had 2 defenders make good plays, put their helmet where the ball is, or just make a really good strip on it, and he's gotten unfortunate. I hope this week he doesn't get unfortunate and he stays clean. I don't know what Gaston Moore does. We haven't seen him in a lot, but Nico's protected the football since he's been playing great, starting about 9 quarters ago. Then you have Gaston Moore, who, I mean, like I said, he's smart. That throw against Alabama wasn't great, but it also ended up not being backbreaking.
Like, if that safety's not like for what it was worth, he knew he was going to chuck up that ball.
It was bad when he started run. If he stays in the pocket, able to throw it, it's not a bad decision. I think he's able to throw a better ball. Once he started getting flushed out of the pocket, you don't want to make that's a tough throw to make on the run. Just eat it.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but I just don't. I mean, and those passes last week, I mean, those are 2 pretty good passes. I mean, the first one was definitely PI. Second one, I guess you could argue. I mean, he got his hand caught up, but like. That's a 50-50 ball all day. Like we are going to.
He threw some good balls. He earned gas pipe.
Yeah. He earned. I mean, he looks good, and obviously it's against Mississippi State at home, and it's a whole different story about Georgia and Athens. But like, again, that's why you don't feel awful if Gaston does have to end up stepping up and taking the starter role. Like he's aged. He makes decently smart decisions. He's going to get flustered in there. So I mean, you want him to minimize as much of that as possible and not get sloppy. But that's why you got Dylan Sampson. You're going to take advantage of that run game, especially if Gaston is the starter.
Yeah. Dylan Sampson not turning the football over, very much key. Just Tennessee in general, not turning the football over. I think field position too. Josh Heupel's got to do everything in his power to keep us out of 3 and outs. That's also like offensive line can't hold, can't get us in bad down and distance situations. Cannot. New rule: don't leave the line of scrimmage until we're in the end zone. Like just don't even tempt it. Don't even tempt fate. Do not commit an illegal man downfield penalty, please, for the love of God. You also 3 and outs is a big one. Oh, I did want to talk about it looks like Squirrel White's healthy. I think that's big. I also think Dante Thornton isn't listed. I don't believe the last one I looked at. No, he was listed as questionable. If he's on the Nico track, that's hopefully he plays. If he's 100%, you need a heavy dosage of Dante Thornton. He's got the speed and the catchability that can make this Georgia secondary pay, and I think it needs to be him. He's your guy.
Well, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Squirrel's been. I've been iffy about Squirrel just because it's like, but Squirrel still got a lot of speed, and what teams have been doing against us on defense is, which you would have never seen against Tennessee in 2022, is they're loading the box more, and there's a lot of one-on-ones outside. And I know we have not been, hitting a lot of the deep shots this year, and we haven't been dependent on it. And yes, we've been using the ground game a lot more, so they understand if they load the box, that's just how they're going to equip to our offense that we're running now better. But like, there's still so much opportunity to beat a guy one-on-one and have something open downfield. If you make that connection, like it's still there. Like if and again, Georgia's obviously going to play, really smart defense in that, but there's still so much speed on this receiving core that if they load up the box too much, dude, I wouldn't be surprised that you see a couple downfield shots, especially with Squirrel, with how, if he's fully healthy, bursting like he did in Mississippi State.
Sure, and I think it's huge that Tennessee take advantage of those one-on-ones. You mentioned that being something that we see a lot. I don't feel like Tennessee exploits it enough. I just want to see a slant, Joey. You got one guy on the outside, and he's one-on-one coverage, either no safety help or limited safety help. I want to see us throw a slant, especially Dante Thornton. The man is a walking house call. That seems like a really easy play to run, call, do all that stuff. I want to see it exploited more. Those one-on-ones, guys playing off the ball, that's an easy 7 yards. Does he take it to the house? Let's find out. But it's an easy 7 yards. I want to see us exploit the one-on-ones more. I agree with you. I think last week we didn't exploit him as much because it was very much a let's get out of this football game.
Right.
This is injuries are piling up. Stay healthy. We still kept giving it to Dylan Sampson, though, and all that, who was injured during that game. So that was bold. But he is your workhorse. And the guy, I think the guy wants the football at all costs. He's a leader on this football team. He wants to win. And I love that about him. And I think it was Peyton Manning's son. There was a guy standing with Peyton Manning, a kid. I don't know what his son looks like, but he was wearing a Dylan Sampson jersey. So he's a fan favorite for a reason. You even have little Peyton. I don't know what his name is. I don't want to know his kid's name. Someone probably knows it. I don't want to be that creepy. I actually do know it. I just remembered I know it. I'm not going to say it. But wearing number 6, I think.
I love it.
That's big. I listen. We love Nico. We love all the quarterbacks, but I love seeing non-quarterback jerseys getting worn.
Dude, the Kamara jersey rocked for the longest time like that. I still love my Kamara jersey.
Yeah.
Show running backs some love. And we almost lost Dylan Sampson last year. Or was it 22?
Is that real?
It was a rumor, I know, but I'm just saying it was people weren't us up like if the Dylan Sampson we know now started having talks about that, people would have been up in arms.
I think people were pretty upset. It was an Instagram thing. I think he just put a tiger in his bio.
He put it on Instagram, yeah, and he put on his he put a story up of the tiger,
Yeah, well, I think he was home in Baton Rouge and he put his location. Which, Joey, I think you probably know this. You're young and on Instagram. You don't necessarily have to be somewhere to put your location down.
Certainly not.
I'm gonna share a story from Baton Rouge right now.
Tell me.
Just say I'm there.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm going to get the Tiger. I'm going to get the fake Mike, and I'm bringing him back here.
Yeah, Landon's not even actually in Chicago or where he's at. He's just taking pictures of that online and posting the location.
Yeah, don't dox Landon. People might find him. Gotta be careful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna need it. It's gonna be. I don't know. I mean, I watched the Ole Miss game, and it looked like, again, I'm not watching all 22 or anything, but it looked like there was a lot of open field, like midfield open options for Ole Miss, and that's where they gained a lot of their yardage. So I think you're right. Those slants, dude, like I'm picturing Miles Kitselman being a big factor in this game because we find him open a lot.
Yeah. We need, nothing we need to use. I don't know. I say we need to use a tight end more. We probably use them the right amount to let them fly under the radar, but I feel like we could use them more. We didn't use them much against Mississippi State. We also they were on the field blocking the entire second half. I hate to completely go off topic here, but seeing what happened this week, we need to start a company that just hires out merchant mascots. Like, how Smokey's been struggling this year. We just have like a blue tick coonhound at the ready. Gets called up to the ranks.
Oh,
we get a live gator we have on staff.
Oh. That's actually, that's a good shout. Because I mean, if you get like the resembling twin, and like especially if a football program or any team is on like a last minute, like Smokey's no go.
Yeah, like Uga can't travel this week.
We can charge
a lot
for Uga.
Obviously, we could just do we could just do appearances. We could just say it's Uga and just take him to like the mall.
We could do that. I think you're on something. We got a lot of business ideas cranking over here. More important.
We do. We gotta get Morgan Wallen on this one too. We also we're gonna get him like stadium ready. Like that Tiger wasn't stadium ready at all. We're gonna get him prepared.
No.
We'll even have a Buffalo
gonna make it through the end zone, no problem.
And I think for like bowl season, we got to keep some on the West Coast and East Coast, so like travel's not too heavy on them. We want to treat these animals right, PETA. We're not trying to abuse them. We're trying to make the best versions of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I mean, there's gonna be some ones that we're gonna have to watch out, and I don't know what we're gonna do for, like you said, like a Tiger. We're gonna have to start maybe sign some waivers or third partying. I'm not quite sure how to acquire a Tiger, but I'm sure there's a couple loopholes.
We could just find like Carol Baskin's dead husband and then hold that like blackmailer for a Tiger. Like, we won't tell anybody if you just give us this Tiger.
Isn't he in her backyard?
Oh, that'll be easy to find then. Surely she's that smart in her backyard. Have you told investigators that?
No.
You should call the anonymous tip line. I'm sure there's one.
Should I try to get a bag off this Tiger King?
Yeah. Oh, speaking of animals,
Joe Exotic still in jail.
Yeah, no, he's got to be. I think he wanted to get pardoned by Trump, and he had a limo waiting on him like the day that like the president on their way out.
That's right. He got mad.
Yeah, it would be kind of sick if Joe Biden pardoned him now. He's like, get one up on Trump. I mean, I don't think Tiger King could vote for him if he wanted him to vote for him. If he runs again, he shouldn't run again. I don't know. He should do whatever he wants in life. I don't care. But yeah, he should definitely. I was against pardoning him, but seeing as this could be a go against Trump, like this could be like I like seeing politicians one up each other in the dumbest way possible. This would be a great dumb way to one up each other.
I saw something where they said if Joe Biden resigns, Kamala becomes president and ruins all of Trump's 45-47 merch. I just think that's funny. I don't care who that happens to. I just think that's like if my enemy, and I know they're not that enemy, but like if I could do that to my enemy, I'm doing it 10 out of 10 times.
That would be that. You're right. That is hilarious. That's probably good for Trump though, because the same people who bought the 40, like that would
they're gonna buy the 45, 48.
They buy 48. That would work in favor of Trump. Like everyone that bought that's just they're just gonna buy it again. So yeah, that's actually Trump. If you want more money, dude, call the White House. See if they'll get on this plan.
Hire me. I'm a strategist. Put me on the cabinet.
Get Joey working on these. Did I tell you about my idea for for our study using apes? Last Thursday we got on the show and they had released something like 45 monkeys had escaped a research facility in South Carolina.
I did see that.
So I did some research of my own on this research facility. It's they have apes in this facility, and it's not one company doing it. It's a research facility, and you can contract them out to do research.
Oh,
And
they
so
just own monkeys.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. And I want to I want to contract them to do a study on like the Tennessee football fan resilience, and just have them watch Tennessee games for like over the last 10 years and see how long it takes before we start seeing monkeys committing suicide or something. That's what
You
I
could
want.
probably figure out a way to like, oh, here's a banana, and put it right in their face and start just yanking it away last second. And like that, like while watching
This
the
is
Vols
torture.
games, and they'll start to simulate, okay,
They
I'm
learn what a
connecting-
touchdown is, and yeah,
I'm now connecting the ball success with my bananas. And then they're probably either going to starve, or you're right, they're going to go crazy. We actually, at some point in my life, I would like to see a study about the health effects of a sports fan in general.
I asked to get it for my birthday. That's what I want for my birthday. I want a contract for this facility.
If you take the average fan and you can figure out the math on that, what are you giving Tennessee? 15x, 10x, whatever the average sports fan goes through?
Sure.
Probably 10, realistically. So
yeah, probably. Yeah, if you guys want to donate to my fund to exploit animals for the hilarity of Tennessee football, please donate to my Venmo. It'll all go to a good cause, sort of.
They're already being exploited anyway, so like we're just at least gonna get something useful out of it.
Right.
If we could set them free, we would. That's obviously.
And we will. We may, depending on the legalities of it, we may at the end of it. We don't know.
Oh, that's true. We just do another research study and say let all the 46 monkey go and do research on where they go, and then just free 46 monkeys.
Yeah. I think we're even more onto something. This is why you come to the show. All right. We've talked about Georgia. Lay it on me. What do you got score prediction wise?
27-17.
Balls?
Yep.
10 point. They swing the spread.
Swing the spread. Obviously, I would like Nico to play for that to be the case. I feel good about it. Literally the only thing that worries me is somehow Mississippi State kind of gashed us on a couple of runs last week. And I think Tennessee's probably going to shorten how far that front seven lines up. Because again, we're way out here, which is great because we're putting edge pressure like no one's business. But it's leaving a big old gap. So and Georgia's run defense or Georgia's run offense isn't anything that I'm like freaking out about, but neither is Mississippi State's. And like there was a couple plays where I'm like, one man missed in the open field, and that's like a 70-yard run. Like that could have been bad. So other than that, I just feel confident, man. I feel like even though it's in Athens, it's gonna be loud. It's late night. They got game day. Like this defense, dude. I'm telling you, this defense and Dylan Sampson are gonna be the two keys. And I just think it's gonna be sloppy. And I think Tennessee's all season just won the sloppy games. And I think if it's a slop off, Tennessee's gonna win the slop off.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with your points. I agree a little bit differently. I do think Tennessee kind of continues some of their scoring momentum. I think regardless of the quarterback, I've got Max Gilbert having another big game. He's going to make 2 field goals. I think I have this defense finally allows a team to eclipse the 20 mark only because I think field position is going to play an important factor in this game. I have the Vols 27-21. I think they get just right at that 20-point mark. Max Gilbert, he hits 2 field goals. I have one late to really seal the deal. He gets one late to not, make Georgia have to score a touchdown, and they don't. They can't on this defense. They never let up.
Yeah. What's your Jackson Ross opinion?
I don't like the way they use him. I think he's good. I don't like the way they use him. I think it makes his job harder on him. I see why they do some of the stuff they do, but I think I think he's certainly a weapon. He can absolutely pound the football. They don't necessarily always want him to just kick it as hard as he can. And I think a guy like that, he probably should. So,
yeah, I don't know. I get frustrated when I'm in the stadium because the punts don't look amazing, and he's running 15 meters left and right. And it's just like that.
So I think from the stands, the punts against Mississippi State they didn't look great. Would you be okay knowing he averaged 46.3 yards per punt?
It's always the stats that I'm like, okay, we're fine. It's like, but I watched the punt in the stadium. I'm watching on TV. I think he's like the best punter ever, or like doing really well. It's when I can see above the camera angle that I'm like, oh, like Kentucky.
They're
had a
ugly.
couple
They come out
punts where
ugly.
It was Kentucky's punts were like pretty. There was a couple of high, tight spirals that looked like NFL like. And maybe, I mean, again, they're working. Rarely he has a shit punt, but they're ugly, but they get the job done, and they're unpredictable. Ugly punts are unpredictable, and that's what you want.
Sure, makes it harder to catch.
Okay. I mean,
you got a point. All right, let's talk a little college football playoff before we really get into week 12 here. I don't have a real gripe with these rankings, other than Indiana and BYU. Why did they jump Tennessee if they weren't there last week? Like, the justification for them jumping Tennessee makes no sense. And then if they're going to jump Tennessee, why are they not above Texas and Penn State?
Yeah, because I mean it's the same thing. But here's my issue. It's the same way that you're like, I don't have a gripe with the way it played out necessarily. I think I have a problem with how it's structured. BYU is not the 6th best football team in the country. BYU plays probably most of these top 25 teams, and I think they're going to lose. I think they play a mid SEC team, and they're probably going to lose. Penn State's not the number 4 team in the country. It's because preseason rankings tell you that they're supposed to be one of the best teams in the country, and they've only had one loss to the really good Ohio State. I think this Penn State team's really flawed. I don't think Drew Aller's that good. I don't think this team is number 4 at all. But so I think that's my issue, is it's like the way that it's set up and structured, like the way it is. I'm not mad because like you said, other than BYU and Indiana jumping us, but I don't expect, I guess the Georgia move down to 12 felt a little aggressive. I thought that they were probably going to find them somewhere around 9 or 10, but
they're too scared to rank people below someone they beat with the same record, which gives me hope that if Tennessee and Alabama finish with the same record, they won't rank Alabama ahead. Now, the problem is, like, I could see next week, Georgia will jump Ole Miss if they beat Tennessee. Ole Miss plays, is it it's not Missouri, that's South Carolina. They play Florida. No matter the score of that game, they could blow them out. Georgia will jump them, I think, if they win. Because they're always going to go back to, that Tennessee-Alabama game was mid-October. I mean, they clearly forget Notre Dame lost to NIU. Notre Dame has they have 2 wins over top 25 opponents, current top 25 opponents, but the loss to Northern Illinois. And then they still have them ranked above someone like Miami. It's because Miami lost more recently.
Ole Miss doesn't.
It's all recency bias.
They play Florida next week.
Florida next week. They're off.
But yeah,
okay.
Same. But yeah, same principle where it's like, I don't know. It's only frustrating on that front. And it's like, now it's also, I mean, obviously they didn't do it for this reason, but it's angled like, now Georgia's number 12, and like, they're not as good as we thought. So now Tennessee loses to them, and now it's even harder for our argument of 10-2 to be like, yeah, well, you lost to Arkansas, who's like a not even above 500 team, and then you lost to Georgia, and now it's not Georgia from 2 weeks ago where everyone's like, they're still one of the best teams in the country. Now it's, a Georgia team that's really been, meh this year, because now they're ranked 12th.
Right. And we actually have a question. Would it be better to lose with Nico or lose with Gaston for the playoffs? I mean, for the playoff outlook, yeah, if Nico comes back healthy and looks good against UTEP and Vandy, then it probably changes the narrative of that game. Yes. I think if Tennessee loses this game, though, it's got to be a close dogfight where you're going, and it's got to be close for 4 quarters. Like, it can't be a late comeback that looks good on paper. This has got to be a close game for 4 quarters to really count for something that keeps you in the playoff. It only matters if Nico's out, if he looks really good in the following 2 games. That would be the only way your quarterback matters in that scenario.
Right.
In my opinion. Now, the committee may feel differently.
I'm sure they will.
I don't trust the committee. Yeah, I don't trust them. They call a win over Michigan a big win. That's insane. And you know me.
So stupid.
I ride for Indiana, but that's insane. Like, you can't call them a big win just because
same thing with Texas. That's why Texas gets propped up and stuff, and it's this beginning of the season win against the national champions. Okay, well, look at it now. Like, are you going to value that Texas win nearly anything at all? Go look at how they played against Georgia.
Right.
Like you said, those
The game that
stat
looked good on
lines
paper.
against
That's
Texas.
it.
Yeah. Other than that, like it's not that impressive. But the college football playoff won't dare put Texas below 5. So it's just all setting. It's all about setting it up for the next week, so that way they can ensue whatever move that they would like to do. And not gonna lie, obviously there's ratings and fan bases. I mean, that's a factor. It is, no matter what you want to, say about it.
Yeah. And I think this is a good reason too, looking at like the likes of like Michigan. We got to get rid of AP top 25 preseason. It's like, I don't know how you get rid of it. It sells books, but golly, it's so annoying to be like, well, they were ranked here preseason. Preseason rankings do not matter. They should never matter. And I would be okay with like starting in like week 3. Like start them in week 3. And if you're okay, here's a caveat. Caveat is you can put a preseason ranking out there on ESPN, on CBS, whatever schedule you're looking at. You're not allowed to have their number next to them until week 3, minimum. They do not get a number assigned to them until at least week 3.
Yeah, because I mean, if you start everyone at like, I mean, I guess you can't start everybody at one number, but like you think about everyone on an even playing scale, which that's not how that works, obviously, because Boise State or Indiana would look significantly better than like really any team. But Penn State would have to work to get to that 4 spot, whereas instead they start at the top, and because Ohio State's a good team, but they've kind of gotten the same benefit there. Where it's like, hey, they're a Big Ten team. They're always going to be competitive and stuff. I mean, that's great, but that's based on 95% of what you're seeing preseason. What have you seen from Penn State this year that makes you the number 4 team in the country? What like hard factored win do they have that you go, whoa, this team would beat almost every other team besides 3 of them in the country?
Right.
So
and also odd. I don't think you're right. I think Indiana gets a benefit if you think about it that way early in the season, but like they're still probably around number 5 at this point,
and they still have to work their way up there.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, you got to win games. I just think we pre-assign these numbers where we believe in our bias. We're humans, and if you believe that was your AP top 10, like you're going to roll with that in week 2 or week 3, whatever. I just think it allows that the preseason hype not to creep in as much. It's still going to happen because there's still going to be that talk. And even if you don't assign the number, like you still see that AP poll. But I think when you go back and look in we're in week 12, you go back, you're like, hold on, let me just pull up Texas' full schedule. Cause I think because obviously beating someone bumps them down, but to look at someone like Michigan, who's number 10 when they played them, and go, oh, well, see, I mean, that was a top 10 win for them. They're not ranked. They're not close to being ranked. They no. And then you have Oklahoma, who was still number 18 by the time they played Texas. Like, no, they were not the number 18 team in the country. They weren't close. They've never been close. That was them working themselves out. I'll say the same thing about Tennessee. We didn't play a number 15 Oklahoma team.
No, and no one values it like that right now. No one's
or number 24 NC State team.
Yeah, no one's valuing either of those games because they were so early in the season. Granted, obviously the rankings were skewed earlier in the season, but that's because you have because you have a preseason poll.
And I'm okay with this late in the season. You can look at it and go, yeah, they beat a number 25 Vanderbilt team. They did win that game on the road. That's okay with me. That's a late season ranking that Vanderbilt had to earn at that point. They still have no current top 25 wins. Would like to note that based on the AP and college football playoff. But like I would be okay giving a team a win over a top 25 team at that point in the season because you had to work your way there. And I like that's fine. But yeah, it's these preseason polls just drive me bananas.
Yeah.
It's hard to really take a full schedule into context when you have to look like NC State they were never a top 25 football team this year. Tennessee stomped them. And if you're going to give Texas the benefit of beating the teams in front of them, you have to give Tennessee that same. They won by 41 points. You believed in NC State at some point, AP poll. Well, why not keep believing in them? Same for Oklahoma. Like if you're going to give Texas that credit, have to give it to them. So yeah, I hate it. I think at the end of the day, this year in college football, the only way, every year in college football really, but this year specifically, you win out, take care of business. They can't deny you. well, they can't deny Florida State, but the committee kind of, I know it's a different football team. They kind of look right though. Like Florida State just sucks. And I think they just suck, period. But yeah, it's whatever. Tennessee's at number 7 right now. I guess we never mentioned that. They didn't move, but they had some people jump them. Whatever. This is a kind of find out week anyways. This will really start this week really starts cementing things. Go win, and you're a win away from being in Atlanta. I don't really care to be in the SEC championship game myself this year. That's whatever to me. I almost like don't want to be there in that extra game, but if you get there, that'll be really fun and cool. So that's fine with me.
Yeah. We'll see. I just win the games. I mean, again, that you wish it wasn't Georgia, but like it's at the same time. And I mean, talk about a game that has just insane implications. It's technically an elimination game if you want to just be like as negative outlook as possible. Obviously, at 10-2,
probably is.
Obviously, there is a way. Yeah, it's not looking great. You need some other things to happen. And again, let's just win. But if you're 10-2, if it's a close game and you stomp, I mean, UTEP's stomp anyway, but you go and stomp Vandy, who if you're gonna say Bama's lost to them isn't that bad, then if Tennessee goes and wins by 4 touchdowns against them, then we should get the same level of credit. Then I like it. Would at least hope that gets. I at least hope that gets a little bit of leverage that we can use there as 10-2 to go. We beat Bama and we smoked the team that they lost to. Sure. If it comes down to us and Bama, I'm gonna have a fit.
Yeah, we know how that one's gonna go. Just get your cup. Have your cups at the ready. You don't need to put them on yet. Just have them at the ready. Week 12 in college football. Speaking of college football playoff elimination scenarios, Missouri on the road in Williams-Brice. It's not a night game. They didn't get that horror. But South Carolina, they're rolling. Missouri.
This is basically a night game. 4:15.
Sure.
Nowadays.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
It'll be dark by the halfway through the second quarter.
Eli Drinkwitz wants you to believe they are a playoff contender, so this is an elimination game for him, which I'm sure he will get really mad at a reporter for asking a question related to that, but he did it. He's the one. He said, I said it. He told us that, and he told us he stands on business, so we'll find out this week. Colorado and Utah. Colorado has to be the biggest playoff contender that no one is talking about or respecting.
Yeah.
Coach Prime flying under the radar for the first time in his life.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Obviously it's probably leaded by the fact that, where BYU is. If BYU just stank and Colorado was, leading the Big 12, it'd probably be a different story. But
they got a chance though. They're in the mix.
Yeah, as much as I don't want that to be the case, because I want every team to not be in the mix. They're right there, and their schedule on the way out's not hard. They just got to do the right things and obviously win the conference championship.
Yeah, if they win that, that's easy money. Like that.
Yeah,
they're in. But and then Ohio State gets freaking Northwestern, and Penn State gets Purdue.
Again, we're at the same spot where, if you did this to Tennessee, we would also be. I guess you'd clip me because Arkansas. Arkansas is still better than 70% of the teams in the Big Ten.
Yep.
60% of the teams. Again, preseason, that's where those regular season games that are just not impressive at all. And then you play one big game at the end of the year and, you lose that one. It's but they won every other game this year. So, let's move them down only 4 spots. So, whatever.
Right. Also, just for fun, because I saw something I think on TikTok that was kind of laughing about the idea of it and thought of it. The Mercer Bears, Joey. The Mercer Bears are 9-1 and lead the are they SoCon? I think they are. Lead the SoCon, if that's the conference they're in. I'm not saying there's a chance, but what if?
I don't even know.
If the Mercer Bears rolled in?
Yeah.
I'll smoke a cigar for that if it happens.
I would too. Why not?
Good friend of the pod. Yeah, good friend of the podcast, Chadwell Mitchell. He's a Mercer alum. Got recruited to play football there. Fun fact: he was in the building on a recruiting visit to Auburn during the kick six. So maybe maybe this is what we needed. We just need a little Chad sprinkled in. That's it.
Also, the ACC is getting dicey. SMU could still, I mean, like obviously Miami's lost kind of through a wrench and things.
They're the favorite, right?
SMU?
They got to be, right?
Yeah, they're undefeated. They're undefeated in the conference, but they're one game behind everybody else. So I mean,
okay,
in conference game. So I don't know. I mean, SMU's schedule's pretty easy on the way out. They've got 3 games. It's like Boston College, Virginia, and somebody else. But other than that, I mean, it's not. It's. I mean, so. But if they find a loss in there, and Miami and Clemson went out, Louisville doesn't have a chance, even at 2 conference losses. That's not. But it's still ACC is looking weird too. There's going to be a lot of next couple of weeks. Going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Speaking of Louisville, Stanford welcomes Louisville. They don't have to travel this week. No East Coast. I can't imagine. I hate this time of year. I can't imagine just flying back and forth between East Coast and West Coast this time of year. It's got to be significantly worse when the hours,
the
daylight hours are just jacked up. Yeah, it feels like 9 o'clock at 7. I don't like it. More in the SEC, LSU at Florida. I hope Florida wins, and you might see a world where Brian Kelly gets ran out of town before Billy Napier, if that happens, which would be just all-time hilarious.
Well, Billy's not going anywhere, apparently, so
right.
That would be pretty funny.
Those fans have got to be getting fed up. After that, just dog stomping.
Yeah, that was bad.
Oregon, Wisconsin. Oregon's going to. What's that spread at? 14. I might take that. I might take that spread.
Yeah, that's.
Am I an idiot for taking it? I heard you couldn't tell if that was like, I have to take that too, or you're an idiot. Grown.
It feels like a trap game, but
okay. I respect.
I mean, Oregon. See, this is the thing again. I know Oregon beat Ohio State. And I know they beat Illinois. Illinois is not proven to be the same team. I guess they beat Boise State, but also a close game, and Boise State's also not playing the same level that a Big Ten team would. Oregon goes and throws a stinker to Wisconsin. I know they're still only a 1-loss team, but now it's like, okay, now you compare to the rest of the 1-loss teams, and it's like
Wisconsin's bad.
Wisconsin is bad. So like you lose that game at Wisconsin. Now what? They don't drop less than 5 spots. But then you look at the whole schedule and you're like, are they really at 5 if they lose to Wisconsin 3 weeks ago?
Sure.
I mean, they barely get by Ohio State, barely get by Boise State. So
as long as they get by. That's all the committee wants to see. I think I'm going to have to. So did you watch the Holy War, the BYU Utah game when you got home Saturday night?
Mm-hmm.
I knew I should have stayed up through the craziness, and I was just too tired. I went to bed. I think I'm going to stay up for this BYU Kansas game. It feels like Kansas is bad. It feels like it could get real weird. It is at BYU, so I don't know how weird it can get. But I think this week I might have to try to stay awake for it. I think I've got to catch whatever weird thing's going to happen.
And BYU's only getting 12 or 2.5 points. So
yeah,
things are definitely.
They didn't look good last week.
No.
You mentioned SMU. They do play Boston College this week. There's really not just a ton of games. You're kind of getting in this week and next week. I think are those kind of lull weeks. Teams get the chance to regroup. Texas at Arkansas. I don't think there's any way Texas loses that game. If they do, that is vindicating as a Tennessee fan, because it's like, see, they're not that bad. You all believe in Texas all year, even after they lost. Arkansas is not that bad, but I'd have a feeling the committee would not agree with that. So,
I mean, yeah, that's where I would disagree with the committee. But Texas is slow. I mean, I could see Texas going into losing the game. I could see it happening.
They're 12-point favorites. I'm not saying I would take Arkansas to cover that. I would not take Texas to cover that, though. If I had to go one way or the other, I would take Arkansas to cover 12.
I just don't like Texas. They really have not proven to me in a single game this year that they because Vandy got so close to beating them, and I know you can't play that game because they didn't. But if Vandy beats this Texas team, and Texas is now 8-2, this line's at 4.5. Texas is at 9 or 10 on the CFP rankings, like a whole different game. So I'm really not impressed with Texas so far this season. So I think 12 feels like a lot of points, but I could also see Texas going to win by 30. So it's like, it's just kind of the narrative that you want to kind of base off for this game.
Right. I don't really have any other games I want to mention in college football unless you got any.
No, I mean, ideally, Army and Navy. Which one does Notre Dame still have to play? Because Virginia's not beating Notre
They still have
Dame.
to play Army.
Okay, so
They do
hopefully
play
Army
Virginia
can
this
win.
week.
Virginia's not going to do it.
No.
Okay, Army's got a bye week anyway, so it's kind of irrelevant. So I'm just I'm keeping an eye on that Notre Dame situation, but they've had more impressive wins than like a couple teams that are getting higher praise. They obviously have the Northern Illinois loss, but early in the season.
Right.
So no, other than that, nothing crazy.
There's not a lot of teams to cheer for this week to lose. I think Miami losing last week should be kind of enough for you to be content and happy at the moment. I don't know if you necessarily want BYU to lose at this point because they're probably going to be the auto bid in the Big 12. Indiana doesn't play this week. They're off. Penn State's just not going to lose Purdue. Ohio State's not going to lose to Northwestern. You obviously play Georgia. Alabama's not going to lose to Mercer. Sorry, Chadwell. Take the spread. It's probably like 31 points. Notre Dame, very doubtful they lose against Virginia. I think that is a home game too, which they've done before. Your best chances next week against Army, I'd say, in the next 3 games. And I'd say those chances are really unlikely. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, you don't have many to root for other than the Vols this week, so might as well cheer as hard as you cheer. Listen, leave it all. Give your all to Tennessee. If it takes me being sick the following week after a win, sign me up. I'll do it.
Worth it.
Absolutely worth it.
I'll
Absolutely
be
worth
sick all
feeling
football
like
season.
crap for 4 days so far, and it's not looking up for the 5th right now this week.
That's okay.
Yeah. I have a golf tournament and soccer to play tomorrow, so that's gonna
That's gonna be tough on Saturday.
I'm gonna power through it. I'm gonna make it happen. My goal is to sleep till like 10 a.m. on Saturday. I haven't had a good sleep in a while.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna turn off every alarm, put the blackout curtains up, and see what I can do.
Yeah.
Tennessee basketball, and I know I don't want to talk. I don't want to jump too far ahead. Real quick, we'll just mention Dalton Connect going off for 19 points. LeBron James had some very kind words for our pal. That was awesome. That was cool to see. That's got to be cool for Dalton Connect too, to have him call you out by name.
Oh yeah.
Or in a little interview, I guess.
Looking at where Dalton Connect was 2 years ago, I think, and sure, was he always confident that he had the talent to do that? Yes, I would assume so. But just to see that transition and literally whatever 365 times 2 is, go back that many days and look where Dalton Connect is and be like, okay, yeah, now you just went 5 for 5 in a Lakers game and you got LeBron basically applauding you after the game. That's the jump that he's had. It's also, it's obviously Tennessee doesn't get that much. It's nice for a Tennessee VFL for us as fans to get success, in the professional league and actually get, it's easier in basketball. Obviously, there's a lot of football alumni that have gone on to be successful, especially in the past 5 years or so. But it's hard to see them pointed out. It's nice to have somebody in basketball that's actually repping the Vols and, especially doing it on the Lakers with LeBron James. So,
yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, Tennessee basketball as a whole, they played Montana on Wednesday night. Oops, clicked off that. Man, we can score. That's what you should take away from this. Igor gets going. He has 18 points. You still have Zakiah getting into double digits. Chaz Lanier still has 13. 5 Vols, 5 in double-digit points. People are going to continue.
There with 8.
Yeah, people are going to continue to dog Jordan Gainey. He didn't need to shoot the other night. He didn't give any opportunities. He was 1 for 4, 0 for 1 from 3. But the dude can play back. Like he's huge for this defense. And then I think he's always just going to have hot games where he gets the ball in his hands more and gets the chance to shoot. And then Jamal Mashak's just an all-around good player to have on your basketball team. He gets 8 of his own, so right there at the double-digit line. Dude want to go on the record, always been a Cam Carr fan, even when he hits the backboard on corner threes. I still cheer.
He made it. I see what you're saying. Right when he absolutely bricked. Okay.
He'll do that. He'll hit a massive 3 from the corner, then the next one down, he'll airball it or hit the backboard. It rocks.
That's fine with me. If you're consistent with it, that's fine because we can plan for it. We're like, oh, you've made 2 threes. He's not getting the rock with 30 seconds left. We'll swing it to somebody else. But yeah, I wasn't able to watch this game. My girlfriend actually had a birthday dinner, so I had to pull the old phone casually on the left thigh, kind of under the table, trying to peep as much of the ESPN Plus broadcast as I could. But I mean, from what I was able to see and box score in general, I mean, people after that Indiana exhibition were like, this team's sloppy, this and that. And like, I don't know why there's such overreaction to an exhibition game with a starting 5, with 3 new guys on a starting 5. Like, calm down. And again, I'm not going to overreact. It's Montana, but
and then Tennessee struggled
to season's already kind of piecing it together.
Yeah. I mean, Tennessee struggled to really get things going too much in the first half. They also allowed Montana to score 31 in the first half, kept them under 30 in the second half, really suffocated them, didn't let them run with them. They also have a guard named Money Williams who scores 30 points. And he is not only can the dude score 30, go for a 30 piece, but also he works his tail. Like he runs end to end, side to side, all over the court. He had pulling this box score up right now. He had 4 personal fouls. Dude earned every single one of them, just hustling. Like he's a guy that I see fouling out of a lot of games. I don't know if he does or not, just because his work rate is so high. Like he runs into fouls, and you don't mind those because he's a dog.
Yeah, if he drops 30, he can earn those fouls. That's fine.
Yeah. I did want to also mention Kim Caldwell's team, the Lady Vols. They did get an 89-75 win over MTSU. Also like that she was asked about how she rotates because she's a line change girl. Like it's 5 at a time, 3 at a time. She asked she was asked if that may have led to a second quarter kind of lull, and she's like, no, absolutely not. I love it. It's her brand of basketball. She plays it. She's committed to it. I'm a Kim Caldwell fan. Sue me. If there are no Kim Caldwell fans, I'm dead.
Then I am too.
All right, we've got 2. Who else is going to ride with us?
Caldwell.
We were the first. Make sure you know
people. Kim Caldwell train.
Yeah, I have too. I think people took my the seriousness of calling her out for maybe not being committed to the game when it was announced she was pregnant, and I was trying to. It looked like it'd be right in February or March. I was joking. I do kind of hope she has an OBGYN lined up in like Greenville, South Carolina, just in case, SEC tournament is that time.
You be prepared. That's what you do.
Got it. That's it. In every SEC town, she's got to have an OBGYN lined up. Like we gotta take care of our girl. That's all.
Yeah. We've got a mascot. She's got an OBGYN. That's how our services work.
That's we'll also start merchanting those out. Like we're gonna have some mercenary OBGYNs here soon. We'll call it doctors don't need no borders. Like we'll send them wherever they need to go.
There you go. Just a travel nurse for one person. I think rich people have that, but we're gonna reinvent the wheel.
Do they? Is that a thing?
I mean, really rich. Yeah. Kim Caldwell. No offense, Kim Caldwell. But
how rich do you have to be to have like is it a nurse or a doctor?
A nurse. Because I know a lot of but I think it's what type of rich, right? Like you're, Warren Buffett. Well, he's getting older, so maybe that's the case. But I don't think your average just like CEOs walking around with one. But these like rock stars.
You're talking like Jeff Bezos?
Yeah, I'm sure he's got somebody like within 30 minutes of all time, like all places that he can go, like in a medical emergency that's like meeting him there. You'd have to assume so, right?
He's like the president. He travels with his blood supply.
I mean, I just think when you're that rich, I would pay basically the best all-around doctor, team, and surgeon to travel with me everywhere for what What is $5 million a year over 5 people? You pay a doctor $1 million a year to travel around, they're gonna do it. And that's nothing to him. But also like the rock stars and stuff, they're walking around with their nurses giving them IV drips and stuff, like artists and people that need to recover that are doing 7 shows in a row. Like
I wasn't aware they did that. I mean, I knew they did the IV stuff. I wasn't aware there was like a travel nurse with them. That's crazy. I guess it makes sense. Nurse makes
again,
sense.
I don't know. Yeah, just like someone.
This is just how you would live if you had FU money.
Yeah, I've always said I would have a masseuse. Like I would literally have someone that carries a massage bed on their back with like a backpack.
I think that is a thing.
Tony Robbins does it.
Is he rich enough to have a full-time masseuse on staff?
I think he's a lot richer than a lot of people give him credit for. But yeah, I mean, you could get pretty cheap. Just an extra seat on all your private jets, like big whoop.
Sure. I think I would hate to be that rich because I'd want to hire people like that, but I would always be afraid of, like, dude, I feel so bad for like private chefs. Like, you know, like they've got.
I thought that, but dude, I see like TikToks of like people that like basically are like summer chefs in Nantucket, and they're making like a $200,000 a year salary to basically like hang around the rich person's house all day and like just cook really like good food. And if you're like a good chef, you enjoy doing that. If you're not working in a back restaurant serving 300 dishes in 2 hours, like you're like, I get to take my time, I get to use their beautiful kitchen, I get to hang out, I get to like probably put an AirPod in and listen to something. Like I'm just doing what I like to do, super calm, relaxed, and I'm making bank to do it.
I'd feel bad though because I'd definitely be a nuisance. When we went on that cruise, we had they had the 24-hour pizza place. Like I wouldn't even have a chef for dinner. I would just have a chef for like after hours. Be like, I want a pizza, a really good pizza, not oven. Like I don't want that crap. I don't want to make it. I want you to make it. And they would be very upset with me because it'd be like 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm watching BYU and BYU and Kansas go at it.
Hey, for the right salary, you're always on the clock.
Yeah.
I need a 3 a.m. snack when I get home from the bar. I don't want to go Taco Bell. I want you to make me Taco Bell.
Right. We also had another question. James Pierce, game of his life, ? I sure hope so.
Sure. I'll take it. I mean,
I'd be shocked. I think this is going to be a very tough game for him to have a game of his life, but
yeah,
let's see him rise to the occasion.
Nor does he need to have the game of his life for us to win. But again,
right.
Does he? Probably not. I mean, he's probably going to have the game of his life against UTEP, but sure. I mean, if you want to just say game of his life as in a sense of like just MVP of the game and it might not be his best game stats wise, sure. I think they're going to cover the living daylights out of him. And I think we're going to use every other weapon we have on defense to be able to get back there and do the damage. And it's what we talked about all season. Like James Pierce is obviously like your number one, but they spend so much effort blocking him that you've got so many other guys that contribute that it isn't just the James Pierce show. It's James Pierce leading the defensive show, and he's a great host. But there's a lot of good backup singers and a lot of good dancers and a lot of good team members that are adding it on. So,
right.
I don't think he has to have the game of his life, but sure. I mean, why not? Let him have it.
Yeah. Oh, please make
Wouldn't hurt.
No. I don't think we have any more. I have one. How do you feel about all whites, stormtroopers?
I like it. I mean, I like the stormtrooper look anyway. I think it's clean. I think it's kind of like, hey, we're not getting fancy. We're not, no overly aggressive orange. Like we're just going to come in and mainly white, little speckles of orange, and we're going to play football. We're not here to dress pretty and try to counterbalance your guys' dark red and black and everything that you're going to have going on. Just we're going to wear our white, and I think it looks clean. I think it's third favorite, color that they can wear, but
yeah.
But wear whatever you need to. Go in and whip ass. And they look damn good in the whites. I mean,
it'd be hilarious. They pulled out the orange helmets for yet another November playoff decision game.
I've been saying,
obviously they've announced they haven't, but
we're going to beat Georgia and somehow pull out the orange helmets in Nashville. and I'm gonna literally
I'll
have an
throw up.
aneurysm.
Yeah, I love him. I
will
want to
throw
see him again. It's just not the time.
No,
Not the
South
time nor the
Carolina's
place,
is
Joey.
bad? Vandy would be. Oh, I don't want to talk about it. Ugh.
Stupidity.
Call me. Maybe I sound like an old head complaining about this. The whole landscape of the Jake Paul Mike Tyson fight. It feels like it started when Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather fought. But that was a reasonable fight, right? Floyd Mayweather can never step into an octagon and beat Conor McGregor because that's just not the sport he plays. It was cool to see Conor take an element of his fighting skills and go into a ring, and they did the whole PR stunt, a lot of fun, made a shit ton of money, everyone loved it. Then we started getting into again, Jake Paul has gotten really good at boxing. He looks, he's actually become a pretty good boxer. We're jumping around to washed up, bum boxers and all this stuff. And then the jump to 62-year-old Mike Tyson or something like that. Is he 60? 58? Still almost 60-year-old, one of the greatest boxers of all time. I get it. One, is this going to be a true if they were to both go out there and do their best fight? No. They're going to try to lengthen it and try to, get as much media off of it. I just think it's so dumb to bring one of the best boxers out of retirement 20 years later, which he still looks sharp as a tack. I'm taking Mike Tyson all day because I also don't ever see how they're going to ever let Jake Paul go and beat Mike Tyson and ruin, all this aura around Mike Tyson and how good of a boxer he is. And obviously he can be dude, I'm 58. Go fight somebody your own age. You're half my age. But I think if Jake Paul really wants to do it, just get into the circuit like everybody else does. Go fight a dude in
I'm definitely
2,000 person ring. Like a Friday night boxing fight in Detroit, Michigan. Go beat a bunch of those guys. You go 8-0 in that, and then I'll be okay, maybe this guy can box really well. And start putting him against some of these guys that are mid-level boxers. I think it's dumb. You don't see it in the UFC because you would never put a 58-year-old into an octagon.
Right. That would be. Regardless, 58-year-old boxing's crazy too. But yeah, UFC would be crazy. I'm at the point I'm losing interest in all these weird fights. Everyone everybody in the boxing community that I've seen talk about Jake Paul, they're impressed by what he does. He's the one that's better at boxing, correct? Of the two,
correct. Logan also did, but he does WWE now.
Which that's what all this is. All of this is essentially just WWE. It's pulled up for the entertainment aspect of it only. It's not it's dumb. I guess I'll probably watch because I'm assuming it's free on Netflix. If you have Netflix,
I would have to assume so. I'm gonna watch.
So I'll probably watch it. Yeah, I'll watch it.
Gonna tune in, and that's the issue with the fights. Everyone watches. It's right. I think it's dumb, but I'm gonna watch Jake Paul fight Mike Tyson.
I did not watch his. I did watch his Mayweather fight. I actually was at what was it at the time? Uptown. I watched that fight at Uptown.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oof. That's crazy.
Yep.
I don't know what you're doing with Uptown.
I really thought McGregor had a chance in that just because I thought if he landed one against an older dude clean, there's a chance.
Yeah.
And I don't think he really did. So, yikes. That's why I don't think Mike Tyson can go 8 rounds if he has to. 58. You're right. He looks like he's in great shape, but he's 58.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a cardio level there that gets intrusive, and it's I don't know. I just think it's dumb. I think there's a lot of people he could fight before. It's just a PR stunt. So, but I hope Mike Tyson goes out and knocks Jake Paul out, and then he's I'm still the best boxer there is. So we'll see.
Let's see. Is he?
They haven't even gotten the fun media hype that any of those other fights have.
No, I kind of forgot it was happening so soon.
Yeah. The McGregor Mayweather fight was the best PR stunt ever. They went to 12 stops across the world and massive press conferences and
yeah. And this fight was supposed to happen sooner. No, did he get pushed back? Okay.
And then Mike Tyson had a health scare, which if you're fighting a dude that's having health scares,
have you no pride? I guess at
Yeah,
the same time,
literally.
I would still never I would never willingly eat a punch from Mike Tyson. So I guess I still respect that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
sure.
he's
But like,
58.
I also wouldn't try to that like. Would I ever try to get in a street fight with Mike Tyson? No, because he's going to beat me to a pulp.
Right.
Would I still feel bad about even trying to raise a 58-year-old's cardio level in a street fight like that anyway?
He's your elder.
I'd still
Show
feel
some
bad.
Respect. Yeah.
I mean, if he was 3 years older, 61, I don't even think it's legal to like fight a 61-year-old. If you're,
I'd fight a 61-year-old. Not a Mike Tyson 61-year-old.
7 years old from Social Security, and you want to put him in a boxing ring for 8 rounds? That's messed up.
I agree.
But he's probably going to go in there and do his thing. So I mean, like he'll
not in my America.
Yeah.
My only stupidity is Kirby Smart. To get up in a press conference and call a kid an idiot for that is crazy town, especially after you've never called any of your other players that have gotten in far worse trouble. And then I'll give Kirby his due. He did apologize. I don't know if he ever said sorry. He said he shouldn't have done it. But then he said the kid stood up and apologized to the whole team, apologized to the coaches. And yeah, that's you don't ever want to see your teammates doing that. Wasn't a good look, wasn't smart. But it sounds like he was caught off guard by seeing them. Doesn't sound like it was nothing. Wasn't sounding like it was intentional. He probably regretted it at the moment, like it happened. But yeah, Kirby Smart's just a dick.
He is, and nothing made me happier in Tennessee to go in there and beat them, and then they're a 3-loss team, and it's like that starts the downfall of Georgia. That would
never forget.
Make me happier.
He lost to Butch Jones. Never forget.
And I mean, I know you saw it, but last time Donald Trump won an election, Tennessee walked into Athens and beat them.
That's a good point. I didn't realize that.
And last time John Moore retired, we won a national championship. So
he hadn't been elected yet, though, when we played him. But it was the election year. Because that was in early October.
Okay, true. But when
he's elected.
That year,
yeah.
Right.
Yep.
The same year that
when Donald Trump beats a woman out for president, Tennessee beats
in
Trump.
that calendar year, yes. Well, technically you wouldn't win it till but yes, for
so we need Donald Trump to win the election every year. Maybe.
There can be a loophole where we could do that. Well, at least for the next 4 years, can we just like hold an election just for fun so we can say he won again, so we at least get a couple chances of beating Georgia?
I think it'd be the right thing to do at this age for him. Like make him feel something. Like let him have some fun.
26 would be the next time because you have to go to Athens, but
yeah. So in 2 years we hold a election.
Right. Let's do it.
You've almost got me like voting for a dictatorship. Like let him run. If the Vols win, let him run. I don't care.
I would let him run until he dies if we beat Georgia every year. Fact.
Deal.
We got Bama handled. 2 and 3 in the last 3 years. Basically 3 out of 3. We basically won that game in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, I like
we
that
won the
basically.
first half.
Yeah, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
I don't have any more stupidities. I think it's
I'm good too.
Go check out Roback.
Let's go beat the Bulldog. Oh yeah.
I need a new Roback pullover. 20% off. Use promo code More Important Issues at checkout. They have the best hoodies, joggers, polos on the market, maybe even on the planet. Like take the market out of this, just the planet. It is the most comfortable you'll feel. Make sure. I mean, listen. I think there's a misconception with Roback. Got to be a golfer. No, you can wear them anywhere, anytime. Go get Roback. Everyone, a Roback polo when you see one. Don't let people catch you wearing a polo that's not Roback because they'll also know it's not Roback when they see you. So go check out Roback, 20% off. Use promo code More Important Issues at checkout. Guys, that's all we've got. We appreciate y'all being in here. Sorry for the sniffles and coughs. If Tennessee wins, I'm happy to remain sick. You guys have a good rest of your week. Have a good weekend. We'll be back Sunday. Hopefully back on Facebook. We're on Facebook tonight. Sorry for those that are on Facebook that aren't hearing this because they're on Facebook. I hope we'll be on Facebook.
We will.
Thanks so much. Bring the boat in. We out.